I just wanted to say before I start, this is really impressive work, really proud of everyone, and very hard to follow up all these amazing projects, but I'll try to. So, hey, I'm Theo. I started off a while back in the energy space, working at one of the top electrochemistry labs in Canada, then one of the youngest aviation interns of all time, I think, and then working at the third largest energy investment firm in the world. A few weeks ago, I kind of went to SF to visit some startups in the area, and I got really passionate about something that was completely off of energy and batteries and all these other things I was working on. And so essentially, I went to San Francisco. I was seeing the birthplace of innovation. I was seeing all these amazing things that were happening in the area. And I was just really amazed with how amazing this place is. You know, it's where innovation goes to happen. But every few blocks or so, I would, go and I would see lines and lines of tents and people shooting up drugs. And I started realizing, oh my God, this is a horrible problem. Like, I'm seeing terrible things happen in this place that's supposed to be this amazing, ambitious place where everyone goes to get their startups and build unicorns, right? And so I was asking myself, is this a San Francisco problem or is this just a world problem? Well, in the US alone, over 106,000 people die each year from overdoses and substance abuse disorder. Substance abuse disorder and addiction causes the US government to lose about $700 billion a year, and now it's the number one cause of death for Americans under 50. Needless to say, this is a massive global problem. But if we look at the current systems that are in place to solve it, they are archaic. Only 10% of the 24 million people in the US who need help ever get it. And that treatment is only 30% effective. And then in Canada, you have to wait about 52 days to get treatment at a private clinic and hundreds of days for a public clinic. So I started looking into the barriers for rehabilitation and I narrowed it down to three different problems: cost, accessibility, and efficacy. Cost because people are paying up to $25,000 to $50,000 for rehabilitation. Accessibility because there are not enough rehabilitation centers across the world to help like the amount of people who actually have addiction. And then efficacy, as we mentioned before, it's about a 20% to 30% success rate. So then I started looking into how can we innovate in this sector. And so I looked into three different ways we could innovate and use technology to solve this problem. The first is through prevention. How can we use big data and algorithms to identify geographic locations where people are more at risk, as well as use private and personal data to understand if someone is more prone to having a drug addiction. Then treatment. How can we use BCIs and AI to personalize treatment plans and to understand if treatment is effective? And then support. How can we use virtual chatbots and other virtual therapy solutions to support people in need? So I started in the support category. I interviewed tons of family counselors at a bunch of nonprofits, and I realized that family counselors, what they do is you basically have a family that goes and they talk to a family counselor for 2 or 3 hours every week, and they identify the right things to say to support their loved one in the right ways. But this could really be done with a chatbot where it's personalized and on-demand feedback. And so the application can do a lot more things, but now we're actually looking at implementing this with Families for Addiction Recovery, one of the biggest NGOs in Canada for addiction. And we're looking at implementing this product in March with them. But I was really passionate about this product and I think it still can make a huge impact, but it's really indirect impact. You're working with families, and I wanted to have more of a direct impact with the actual consumers who are having trouble with addiction and substance abuse disorder. So I started looking into biomarkers that had to do with cravings and substance abuse disorders. And I looked into HRV. Essentially what heart rate variability is it's the intervals and the variability between your heartbeats. And if you have a low HRV, you're going to be more prone to stress, and you're probably going to be stressed. And if you have a high HRV, you're less stressed, right? So it's kind of a biomarker for stress. And stress is directly correlated to drug cravings. If you look at the literature on this, HRV was significantly adversely associated with opioid cravings. So if you're less stressed, you're going to have less cravings, and if you're more stressed, you have a higher likelihood of having more cravings, right? So this is essentially how it works. If you have a low HRV, you're going to be more stressed, and then you're going to have more cravings. So how can we give in real time feedback so people can manage their HRV levels so that we can prevent them from having drug cravings before it gets really bad and they try to relapse? And so I built a prototype of this where I was using a wearable called Oura Ring. It takes a bunch of different biomarkers, but it measured HRV, and essentially it was in real time. You would get a text message from it would give an automatic text message to a medical professional or a family member if your HRV levels were too low, and it would say something like your HRV levels are low, you're more stressed, which means that you'll have a higher likelihood of craving. And then it would start some soothing music to help people manage their HRV levels, as well as do breathing exercises to manage those problems. And so then I kind of reached out to a bunch of experts. And so I'm working with Families for Addiction Recovery on that other product with the families. And then I'm working with CAMH and La Maison Jean Lapointe from Quebec to work on the wearable like HRV biomarkers detection system. And I also got a grant from 1517 to keep working on this. So yeah, I called it Zenbeat, and I'm really, really excited for this product because it could accelerate rehabilitation for addicts across the globe. And thank you.